What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Loriello, bringing you a pre-Sunapee Scramble episode with none other than Jamie Brusa. If you've ever raced the Cirque Series, you're probably aware of who Jamie is. She's kind of a Cirque Series mainstay, consistently racing herself into some of the top spots in the elite category, or I should say pro category at the Cirque Series on an annual basis. She had some top finishes, including a top 25 last year at the U.S. Mountain Running Champs against an extremely stacked field of women. And Jamie pretty frequently is usually on the podium, if not outright wins the Cirque Series overall ranking for the pros pretty consistently. So yeah, it was a fun conversation. Really cool getting to know Jamie. She has a really badass day job, which we kind of got into, which was a lot of fun. She's a PhD marine biologist, and she works on a lot of statistical analysis on some marine species, which I thought was pretty cool. The nerd in me definitely had a fun one with this conversation. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Wishing Jamie the best of luck on her race. Without further ado, Jamie Brusa. Jamie Brusa, welcome to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How are you?
Thanks. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Getting everything together for the Sunapee Scramble and just starting to put together all these race previews. It's pretty exciting. I can't believe the summer season is pretty much here, right?
Well, you might want to let the weather know that, but yes.
It's getting there. At least here in Colorado, it's pretty. Where are you based at?
Just outside of Bozeman, Montana.
Okay. All right. So you guys are a bit further north. So I guess Old Man Winter is still hanging around here. It's like sunny and 70 in Colorado Springs. It's
nice.
Kind of nice. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe before we get started, maybe give like a 5-minute elevator pitch on your running background and kind of your relationship with running and stuff like that.
Sure. I guess I first came into the sport in middle school, like many others. And my coaches were great and just encouraging us to try all the different events. And I was really interested in distance and at the same time terrified of it. So I dabbled in that a little bit, fell in love with long jump. And then in high school, I was still mostly afraid of distance, but allowing myself to immerse a little more into it. But I was a sprinter and triple jumper in high school and attended some of the distance practices. And then in college, I was fortunate to get to walk onto the team at the University of Illinois. And I was brought in to be an 800 meter specialist. And by the end of my time there, I fell in love with cross country and got a lot more comfortable with running longer race distances. And then most of my 20s, I took a step back from racing and I still ran, but it was more recreational. And I stayed involved in the sport through coaching. At one point, that was my full-time career. And then kind of came back into racing right around age 30 through obstacle course racing, which is a little different, but it was really great to get me back into competing and met a lot of cool people and had a lot of fun with that for a few years. And then through that, I found mountain running and realized that that was its own sport in a way. And I think of all the different forms of running related sports, that's probably the one I'm best suited for and the one I enjoy the most.
Super cool. Yeah, how did you find the Cirque Series? I'm just curious because I know you've done the Cirque Series a bunch of years in a row. Last season was my first season racing. I went out. I think we were at a bunch of the same races. I did Brighton, Alta. I didn't do Alyaska. What else did I do? Targhee. I think those were the three. But super fun, right? Like those races are such a blast.
Oh yeah, I love going to those races. It feels like a big celebration. Everybody's so friendly, so kind, very welcoming, whether it's your first race or your 1,000th race. I think people can come into the community and feel the same sort of warmth and belonging or sense of belonging, which I think is really cool and really speaks a lot to what Julian has put together in those series. But to get back to your question, I found out about the series from a friend who is in our local running community. We have a bunch of, we have like a run club, and then that kind of spurs off in a bunch of different directions. So there's pretty much a group you can join about any day of the week. And I'm sure there are more groups that I don't know about in town too. But yeah, she just mentioned it one day to me in 2022, I believe. And I went online and looked it up, and the only race that fit into my schedule was Snowbird. So I signed up for it, and I went through, I think, every emotion possible during the 9 or so miles of that race. And I went from getting really down on myself and thinking I was a chump for signing up and why was I out there, to by the end of the race thinking this was the best decision I've ever made and this is awesome and I'm definitely doing another one.
They're addicting. Super fun. I'll be doing a bunch of them this year. I definitely. Are you planning on going back to any of them this year?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do most of them. With the addition of the East and West Coast races, that's a little bit more of a challenge. So I will do, I think, all of them except for the one in Vermont and the one in Washington.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, I'll see you. I'm really excited for Alaska. That course looks insane. It's maybe my first
That's
time in
my
Alaska
favorite.
too. Yeah, and it's like it's so steep. It's like it's so hard to train for something like that. Like even living in Colorado, I'm like, wow, like 4,000 feet in like 2.5 miles or 3 miles is bananas. It's pretty cool.
It's a very unique course. It's really fun, and I think you're really gonna like it.
I'm stoked. It should be a really good time. I'm staying. We actually found a place in Girdwood, which I was like stoked on because
Hmm.
usually it fills up and it's like hard to get in there. So I'm super excited to be there. So it should be fun. I really got to ask you. So like, I've had quite a few PhDs, scientists, and folks like high level on the podcast. I just got to ask you because this is something I usually ask all of them. Like, how did you balance? How do you balance running and having fun with that while also having like a serious like big girl job? Like, maybe talk about that.
Sure. I think it actually makes it easier to do both training and science at a high level when you are doing both at the same time because they can complement each other. If I'm sitting in front of a model I'm trying to build or some piece of code that I've got a tiny typo in and I can't seem to find it, I can go out and run and I can come back to it. And then the answer is usually pretty obvious because I've spent that time away. And then I come back and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I wasn't thinking about this. And now I have fresh eyes. And how could I have missed that? Um, I think that can be really useful. And then I think it's just good to have balance in life, whether that comes from a career that's not related to running plus running or, whatever it is. If you have children and then you're balancing that with a career or with other interests. I think that balancing different interests out in life can help people grow and feel like they're not putting all of their eggs into one basket. When things go poorly in one area, you can kind of lean into another area, or you can sort of borrow ideas from, okay, I tried this problem solving technique with science. Maybe I can apply some of that information to where I'm struggling with my training or racing. Um, yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Can you, for the audience, maybe paint the picture of like what you specifically do? Because I was blown away. It's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. So I mentioned that I live in Montana, and this is going to sound weird, but I am a marine biologist. The reason I can get away with being a marine biologist in a landlocked state is because I'm more of a statistician. To a true statistician, I would never call myself one, but that is my job title. And a lot of people in wildlife biology kind of refer to those of us working on more quantitative problems as statisticians. So I just sit in front of my computer for most of the year and write code and build models and analyze data to understand what's happening with. Right now, I pretty much exclusively study North Atlantic right whales. And so a lot of it is looking at spatial analysis, trying to predict, okay, if we saw a whale over here, how likely are we to see that whale or another whale in this area next week or in 2 weeks? So there's a lot of management implications with that. And there's a lot of figuring out how can we live to kind of coexist in our ocean recreation or working. So like fisheries and boating that can be recreational or it can be shipping to for trade industry. How can we operate with those different aspects of human life without really disturbing the whales? And then how can we benefit from different things that the whales can produce for us? So, for example, whales are really good at providing nutrients for the ocean, especially iron, and that leads to primary productivity, and then that just magnifies up the food chain, and that allows us to fish for large commercial fish that people want to buy and eat. So yeah, I don't know if that's the best explanation, but
Oh, it's super cool. I just figured like migratory patterns and stuff like that, but it's so cool that you can like build models to like accurately predict like or at least within like I don't know. I haven't taken statistics since grad school, but it's been a long time. But like I guess regression analysis and trying to figure out like where things are going. Is that more or less what it is, or
yeah, kind of. Yeah, thank you, by the way. That's really kind of you to say. But yeah, I do a lot of regressions, some kind of out of the box building a model that's not really established, but fits a certain problem that we're trying to solve. A lot of try this and see if it works, and then you like, simulate data and use out of sample data to verify if that actually makes sense or if you're just fitting your numbers to a model that sounds good. But yeah, just sitting in front of a computer, which also makes it really refreshing to go out and run or hike or any other kind of training.
super cool? Did you study marine biology in undergrad, or like what did you study specifically?
In college, we didn't even have a marine biology class, but there is one offered now, I've been told. Um, but I wanted to stay kind of close to home. At the time I was a senior in high school, my mom had what could have been a terminal illness. It was an autoimmune disease, and she barely survived it. She's great now, but at the time it almost took her life, and so I really wasn't thinking very much about college. And luckily, I did apply early enough to have somewhere to go. But I just applied and stayed. I grew up in Illinois. I should have mentioned that, and so it was like 3 hours away from our house, and so I knew that I wanted to get into marine biology, but I also was trying to balance family life there. And so I have a degree in integrative biology from Illinois. And then I went straight from there into a master's degree that is in marine science. And then took a break from science, got into coaching, came back, and then pursued my PhD at Montana State, but studied Weddell seals in Antarctica. So got back into the marine world there in sort of an unexpected way.
Super cool. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was an undergrad. I was originally studying biology, failed chemistry because I partied too hard, and then became a geologist. Like literally became a geologist instead. So that's funny. It's cool the way I don't know. Marine biology is so interesting to me. Like I grew up in South Florida. Like we're obviously we have like the Indian River Lagoon and like the Everglades and a lot of like really cool like more biological like diverse spots. So it's just it's something very near and dear to my heart. So thanks for painting that picture. Let's get back to running. I know I'm kind of all over the place. I did have a question for you living in Montana. Have you? I didn't check results. I checked your ultra sign up, but I didn't check rut results. Have you ever ran the rut, or are you interested at all? Because like that's like such a hardcore mountain race.
I've never run any distance of the rut. The timing's usually not great because I'm usually either running that same day or like the week right before or right after in a different race. I think it was last year was the first time I had been out there. No, that's not true. It was the second time I had been out there during the race to cheer people on. And it's such a cool community event. And it's also such a really big and competitive race that is really fun to be part of, but I have not participated myself, and I don't know that I will in the future, but it's a cool event. If anyone's thinking about it, I would recommend it.
Super cool. Yeah, it's a full on mountain race. Like that thing, the rut is no joke. All right, let's talk Sunapee. I know last year you raced at Snowbird, which was the U.S. Mountain Running Champs, had a good result there. I'm just curious, like what was the push or the drive to want to go out to Sunapee for this year because it's for the U.S. Mountain Running Championship?
Really just the fact that it is the USA Mountain Championships for the standard course got me excited. I was really excited that last year it was at Snowbird, and that was a course that I had run before. Unfortunately, I think that was probably my worst effort on that course. It was a tough day, I think, for everybody. It was smoky, it was dry. Um, but yeah, I saw, I think kind of early on, maybe around January or February, that Sunapee was hosting the championships this year. And so I figured I should probably go. Sounds fun.
I love it. Super cool. Are you let's talk about like how training's going, like your build and everything like that. I know you just I think I put up a post not so long ago about racing this past weekend or the weekend before. So obviously you've been racing, training's going pretty well. Maybe talk about your block and how that's been going.
Sure. Yeah, so like you mentioned, I opened up my 2025 season last weekend, just at a local race in Helena. It's one I usually open the season with. Very fun, and it supports the land trust in that city, which I feel very strongly about. Actually, a lot of people in Montana seem to really support preserving lands and having trails that are accessible. So that was really fun. A lot of people from Bozeman were out there. But training is, um, I don't, I don't block my training as well as most people do. It's kind of continuous, and I have like ups and downs with volume and intensity. But yeah, I don't know. Some people come on and they're just like super organized about their training, and to me, I work this. I'm realizing this might come off as other people don't work hard and work, and I definitely don't mean that. Everybody works hard, but for me, it's draining to work hard at my job and then work hard with training and planning. And so for me, a lot of my training is just about having fun and enjoying running and enjoying where running takes me, which could be geographically interesting places or emotionally or psychologically interesting or useful or fun places. So my organization is sort of it's detailed out into like a full year of a macro cycle. And then within that, I have my main training season, which is the summer, usually mid-May through either mid to late September. And then there's this little extra push that happens at the end of October, or it might be the first couple of days of November, depending on the year. And it's for this race that we have in Montana called the Montana Cup, and everybody competes for your town. So I would compete for Bozeman, and it's just a cross country race. It can range from a 5K to an 8K. It's different every year, and a different city hosts it every year. So I do like another little quick push for that, but that's the broad scale overview of my training, and then a more detailed kind of block, but not true block level. What I do in late spring and early summer is I move from focusing more on volume to a little bit more intensity, which often comes from the races. My actual workouts don't change a whole lot, but I focus more on trying to get in more vert, doing more intensity through racing, and then sort of complementing that by decreasing my volume a little bit to make sure that I feel recovered.
Nice. I got to ask you this. How does your body, because like last year, even doing like back-to-back weeks from Alta to Grand Targhee, I was pooped afterwards. It was like, that's a lot racing back-to-back weekends. How do you hold up doing, because like Cirque Series is usually every other week to, I mean, there's what, depending on how the races work, there's a lot of them that are stacked in there and they're short but highly intensive. How does your body like take that?
I think my body can handle the high frequency because I really don't race in the winter. Aside from the Montana Cup that I mentioned, I don't race in the fall, and I don't race in the early to mid spring. So all of that is just training, putting those drops in the bucket week after week. And the intensity is not super high unless I get really excited running with someone who's much faster than me on any given run. But the plan is generally just kind of boring training, nothing flashy. And I think that sets me up really well for an intense summer. I also do a lot of, well, I guess it'd be a lot for a runner strength training. My husband's a wrestler and he doesn't think I do very much strength training. So different perspectives on it. But I think that helps me stay a lot more durable. And I also prioritize recovery pretty well. And as I get older, that becomes more and more a more and more important component of training to me.
Do you do any OCR races anymore or are you completely done with OCR?
No, I tried to leave the OCR world 2 years ago, and then I was invited to compete for Team USA over in Belgium, and so I wasn't going to turn down that opportunity, and I'm really glad I didn't. That was so much fun, and then I thought about that was going to be my exit. And then last year's Spartan race came to Bozeman. And my husband and I were both just like, man, for all the years we've wanted Spartan to be in our backyard, like we should honor our past selves by just jumping in this race. And so we both did. We did the 10K. That was the only OCR race I did last year. And I think this year I'm officially done. But we'll see.
Super cool. Have you? So the reason I asked that, that's kind of was getting to was racing for Team USA, obviously on the OCR side. What would it mean for you to make the Sunapee team or to place top four at Sunapee and make Team USA for Worlds? Is that something that's crossed your mind?
It's definitely crossed my mind. Um, Somebody else, a friend of mine, put that in my mind. I mean, I guess I probably gave it some thought when I signed up, only because it is a possibility. And a friend of mine who is Canadian, and she's like, "Oh, what if you made the team? This would be so wonderful." And yes, I agree, it would be wonderful. I I set I so when I set goals for myself and um, really just effort levels because I have no idea what anyone else is going to come out and do. Um, Everyone else could have a terrible day, and I could have a great day, and that could launch me up in the finishing list. Or it could be the exact opposite, or more likely, it'll be somewhere between those two extremes. So, um, I've over the past really over the past single year, but other recent years have contributed to this. But goal setting has really changed for me, and thinking about, okay, what can I do, and that doesn't even usually uh, include a time goal. Like if I were to go out on the track or a road and say, okay, I'm going to go run a 5K, this is my goal. I might have a number in mind that I think I can do, but that number realistically could be, if we're using a metaphor of a trail, like a mountain trail, that goal might be 2 steps from the trailhead, like very easy. I should definitely accomplish it. Or it might be at the highest peak. And the thing is, I don't know where it is. I don't know what my body's capable of doing. So I try to move away from time goals and definitely placement goals because they are desires and their dreams. And when you turn a desire into a goal, I think you're not necessarily setting yourself up very well, because you're either going to hit that desire or you're not. And if you hit it, great, cool, life's awesome. If you don't hit it, you might miss out on so many wonderful things to celebrate because you're focused on, oh, I didn't hit that time or I didn't hit that place, when maybe it was an inappropriate goal to set. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, 100% it does. It's actually really interesting. This is a mindset thing I've been exploring a lot lately, like personally. You think about it and it's like at the very end of the day, like there's a lot of things that are out of your control, right? Like you don't know if you'll have a bad sleep the night before. You can try to have a great night's sleep, but there's all different things like out of your control. The best goal is to just do your best and just, control the things that you can control, and whatever you can do, you can do it. Yeah, I think that's a much more positive mindset going in, as opposed to like, oh, I'm going to get top 4 and this is what's going to happen and I'm going to speak that into existence, which I meet a lot of people that do and they might be able to carry that and do that, but I wouldn't. I can't do that. Like, I don't know. Like, that's not the way I approach things. It's I think the easiest way to do is just, have the positive mindset and just do your best and see what happens. Yeah. Interesting. That's good stuff. When are you going to go out early for the race, or are you going to go out like weekend of? Like, what are your plans to go out there?
I'm really sorry. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, what is your like plans for the race? Are you going to go out there early? Or are you going to see the course and stuff like that? Or are you going to go out just day before? I know everybody's got kind of different like things, especially coming from Montana, which is a bit higher, is a little more altitude. Like, how does that work for you as far as adaptations?
I'm planning to head out pretty close to race day. I think I have a flight leaving midday on the Friday, and then the race is on Sunday. So fly all day. Well, I just said it's midday. So fly all afternoon and evening to get out there. We're getting into, my husband's coming with me. So the two of us will get into Boston and then probably stay somewhere out there. And then on Saturday, hopefully get a little bit of a course preview at an easy effort, and then race on Sunday. And then I think I mentioned that I might not have. I work remotely and I work for NOAA. And so the Northeast Fisheries Science Office of NOAA is in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, which is not that far from New Hampshire. So I'm taking advantage of having Sunapee on June 1st. And then I think it's Cannon is the first Cirque Series. Yeah. Which is also in New Hampshire. And then I'm going to stay with a colleague and actually show up to the lab for work that week, that first week of June. And then, so yeah, I'll be out there that week, and I don't know what it means to acclimatize to sea level and more humidity and hotter temperatures, but that's what I was gonna say. I'll get that.
The humidity is like is a total monster. So yeah, it's a different beast, I guess.
I actually love humidity.
Do you really? Oh gosh.
Yes.
I live at 6,000 feet or a little bit more than that, and it's so dry here. And I'd say I prefer like sea level and humidity over altitude and super dry, but I don't know. That's why I'll probably, I don't know. I haven't decided yet whether I'm opening up my season at Cannon or Killington, but like I will be out there like at least a week ahead of time just to start getting used to everything and just feel, feel more acclimatized or ready for that, get that power, I guess. Yeah. Super interesting. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Yeah, Jamie, I want to wish you the best of luck in your race, and super exciting. I'd love to do another like long form interview with you at some point so we can talk a little bit more, maybe after the Cirque season, talk about your different races and things like that you take on this summer and go from there. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Listen up, guys. The Steep Stuff podcast is brought to you by Ultimate Direction USA. Guys, I am so excited. UD just dropped their new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter in 2 beautiful aesthetic colors. You guys got to check these new vests out. They're dynamic in ways like that you just have never seen from an Ultimate Direction vest. Very stretchy, lots of storage, beautiful aesthetic colorways coming to you in a new, like a white and blue and an onyx and green. Just absolutely beautiful vests. I think these ones are just like some of the best products we've ever dropped, and I'm so excited for you guys to try them out. Hop on ultimatedirection.com and use code SteepStuffPod. Again, that's SteepStuffPod for 25% off your new vest. I mean, they're already affordably priced, but 25% off is just going to make it so much more affordable for folks in an already increasingly expensive trail running environment. So hop on ultimatedirection.com, get yourself a new vest, a pack, or any hydration solution, and let me know what you guys think.